Alright, so I feel like this video has been a bit overdue. And I did a short video on this, and I'm like, nah, I need a bit more time. So I need to make a full-length video on this topic, where we talk about why Henry Cavill was labeled a bad Superman and whatnot. And well, here's the thing. It was never his fault. I mean, the poor guy was simply playing ball. Like, that's all he could really do. I mean, it was really not in his control. Of over where to say, yeah, this is how your character's gonna be written and such. At least with Superman. But let's wind our clocks back to when he was announced that he was playing Superman. Right when they announced it, and I saw that, and I saw him, right away I was like, yes, I'm ready. Get the ball rolling. Get it rolling. I am ready. Let's go. And then there were some people who were divisive. There were some people who felt that, okay, that was supposed to be Brandon Routh's movie. I mean, that's fucked up. I mean, come on. I mean, bring him back. I mean, yeah, Superman Returns could have been better, but come on, man. Man of Steel was supposed to be Brandon Routh's sequel. That was supposed to be a follow-up. That was supposed to be his movie. Bring him back. So there's those group of people. I mean, I would have loved to have seen that. And then here's another group of people who wanted Tom Welling. We're like, what? Smallville's over? I mean, why not, get him? Let him put the cape on. Come on, talk to me. Just get Tom Welling into the role. I mean, Smallville is over. What the fuck? So there's those group of people. As far as that goes, I was really happy with what Tom Welling put into the character, from his growth from a young Clark Kent into Superman. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to see. That's what we got. And for the most part, it was really good. I mean, it has its ups and downs, but I was like, look, I'm happy with what we got. I don't need to see him as Superman necessarily. I was more on board. We're like, okay, we got Henry Cavill. Let's see how he does as Superman. So for years, as they were in the middle of production, I was hyped. I'm like, come on, let me see this movie. Let me see Man of Steel. And then when they released the first photo of him as Superman, where he's behind and standing in front of a bank vault and he's doing that really cool pose, I was like, okay, he looks awesome. He does look awesome. And then as they started to put out trailers, and I was really hyped up about that. And then now we fast forward to when the movie came out. I was so blown away for what they brought to live action that we have not really seen before, to where I was not allowing myself to see, okay, so what did they do wrong? I did not allow myself to really see that. So it took some time for me to let this marinate. So I was letting it marinate, and then I'm like, okay, they fumbled on this and such. All those flaws were addressed, with, how Jonathan Kent was written and such, and yeah. But people call Henry Cavill a bad Superman because of how he was written, how he was not given really a lot to do. In terms of outside of him flexing his muscles and, and fighting bad guys. And I want to say, I get where people are coming from. And yet at the same time, people are being way too hateful towards Henry Cavill, to where they're saying that, oh, I don't like these movies. I don't like his version of Superman. He sucks. Henry Cavill himself, he is stupid. He sucks. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far. I'm like, dang. But when you really think about it, now that we really look at how he was, where he didn't have a lot to say as Superman, when, in the movie, more so in Batman v Superman, more so in that movie, where he kind of reminded me of how Max, like how the Max Fletcher cartoons were when, where Superman didn't say very much of anything in those episodes in that cartoon series, where he just says it looks like a job for Superman. He goes in there, does his thing, then he says maybe one other thing. Or he would say, "Are you okay, Miss Lane?" And then he's more so a man of a few words in that version. I don't know if Zack Snyder intentionally based Henry Cavill off of that. I know Red Sun was part of the inspiration of this of this version of Superman. Like okay. But yeah, that's what Henry Cavill kind of reminds me of, like where he's a man of a few words, and just like the Max Fletcher Superman was. And in the earlier stages, like in the earlier comics, Superman was a little bit more aggressive before he was a full-on, full-time Boy Scout. So there's a little bit of those elements thrown in there too. Like when you really look back and like, whoa, Superman is too hostile in these much, much earlier comics. So yeah, there's that. But me, like I get it. Like I really loved him as a choice. And I really did enjoy Man of Steel. And then when they announced Batman v Superman, everybody was like, yes, yes. I was like, no. Give me Man of Steel 2. The fuck? While everybody's in uproar with excitement over this announcement, they're like, no. I'm sick of these standalone movies. I'm sick of standalone Batman movies. I'm sick of standalone Superman. I'm sick of all these standalone movies. Get them on the big screen together. We never gotten them on the big screen together. Just give me the damn movie right now. That's how a lot of you people were. Now, many years later, they're like, yeah, maybe we should have gotten Man of Steel too. I was not sold on Batman v Superman. I was very skeptical. The moment that kind of pulled me away from my skepticism was that Comic-Con trailer, where I was like, whoa, okay, maybe we do need this movie. That was the best trailer for that movie. The best trailer. Everything else was like, okay. Even though I admit I did not allow myself to really poke any criticisms, like due to my to the excitement that I've had already from that Comic-Con trailer. I was just like, I'm ready. And then the movie came out. Then I let it marinate. Then I'm like, well, maybe I was right. I was right to be skeptical. I'm like, you play catch up. The studio was like, we need to catch up with Marvel. We need to hurry up and catch up with them. Where we shoehorned the Justice League in there. We're going to kill off Superman into this movie, into his second appearance. Like, they did Henry Cavill dirty before they even let him go. Long before James Gunn took over, he was done dirty. People were acting like he wasn't done dirty until James Gunn and Peter Safran stepped in. Not true at all. Ah, man. And then with Justice League, where he has very, very limited screen time. Like like in both cuts. At least in one of those versions, they allowed Henry Cavill to behave more like how Superman is, like, the hopeful, optimistic, like Boy Scout. Where we got to see how he portrayed that version of the character. Like, he got to do that. And then Henry Cavill, like, he has expressed interest, like, look, I want to bring hope and optimism to, to my performance. Like, once we get the ball rolling, when the kid comes back on and everything. So that's what he's always wanted to do. And he played ball, and he was real professional about it. Like, whereas, like, no, we're going to go in another direction with Man of Steel and such, Batman v Superman. Yeah. Looking back on that, I'm just like, this is a mistake. take what the amount of positivity that you had with Man of Steel, like, okay, let's take our time, Man of Steel 2, and then we give Batman his own movie, and then we get those two together at some point down the line. Man. The studio had their heads so far up their asses. So far up their asses. But yeah, I get it. I'm like right in the middle. Like Henry Cavill, like it really sucks what happened to him. But I already basically put myself in that mindset to where, like, okay, he's not coming back, guys. This is long before that Black Adam cameo. I'm like, yeah, he's not coming back. That's where my mindset was. And then I sort of made peace with that. And that's why I kind of lacked excitement when he popped up in Black Adam. I was just like, oh, there he is, cool. I mean, I love how he looks. I mean, that's the best that he has looked as that character. When he stepped in frame, he's got the curl and everything. Like, and then his suit looks a bit more vibrant. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the best he's ever looked as Superman. And here we are. But people who are saying that Henry Cavill is the worst Superman that we ever gotten and whatnot or whatever, I agree that he was badly written, but there was some stuff that I really did like with Man of Steel, where I could look deeper into what was going on, even with the most controversial stuff. Not the death scene with Jonathan Kent, not that. No. But like where Jonathan Kent goes like, well, where he's like where Clark was like, what was I supposed to do? Just let him die? And then Jonathan says maybe. Yeah, I get it. I didn't like that. I didn't. But he didn't just up and said it right away. He didn't know what the fuck to say. Where he reluctantly said maybe, and then I feel like in his body language, he's like, fuck, I probably shouldn't have said that. That's what I saw. Everybody else saw like, Jonathan Kent is an asshole. And I get it. But yeah, there are people fans that are fans of Henry Cavill who are not complete assholes, that are not in this cultist Snyder cultist. Like, those people, they take it away. They take their love for the actor and for Zack and this whole DCEU way too far, to where they made death threats to the director of Suicide Squad for showing excitement for this upcoming Superman movie by James Gunn. Like, really? What the hell? And then where they basically poke fun at a YouTuber, like where they lost a like family member, and they're like, yeah, good, yeah, you had that coming. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Man. But I dare say we almost got the worst Superman. We almost got the worst Superman with Tim Burton and casting Nicolas Cage. Come on. That was going to be so drastically different. Tim Burton, I mean, like, they were going to go way further than what Zack Snyder did. Way further than that. You want to go ahead and be like, yeah, Zack Snyder fucked up Superman. Blah, 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 blah. Tim Burton was ready to butcher Superman, and everybody a part of that thankfully dead project was getting ready to destroy what was Superman. Like, everything about him. Whereas, like, I want him to fight a spider. I don't want him to have a cape. I don't want him to have a suit. I don't want him to have his powers or whatever. Like, that probably would have been the one Superman movie where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see this. I remember back when they announced it, I was just, even back at a young age, I'm like, Nicolas Cage? Really? I like him as an actor, but I don't like him as a choice for this particular character. No. I'm curious, is anybody upset that movie did not happen? feel free to tell me in the comments. We'll have a friendly discussion. We're not gonna, I'm not gonna be, it's not gonna be a standoffish debate or nothing like that. I mean, I'll respect that. Okay, you don't agree with me. Okay. But man, yeah, Henry Cavill, he deserved much better. He deserved like the better scripts to work off of. He deserved to have Man of Steel 2. If it were up to me, he would have became, there would have been, it would have, Man of Steel would have been a little bit more different. Like where people would have started to warm up, more people would start to warm up to him, like in the third act, and then he won over to respect, and he would be less destructive. Like yeah, like I would still have some casualties thrown into the mix, but still, like, yeah, that's what I would have done. But yeah, that's where I stand. I don't think Henry Cavill was a bad Superman in terms of like, okay, where it was his fault, it was the studio's fault. They had a good choice, and then they're just fucked around. Months after, Man of Steel was successful, and then they just fucked him over from there on. From the moment Batman v Superman was announced, that's the moment where Henry Cavill was fucked over, not when James Gunn took over. That's where I sit with that. So, yeah. Feel free to leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that's it. That's my input on all of this. So, yeah. Peace out, guys.